If you're looking to complete a skill assessment for a professional occupation from VETASSESS, this video is for you. Framework for professional occupations has been updated, so it's really important to understand what the requirements are to try and get a successful application. Today, I will explain what has changed, why it matters, and how you should prepare for this. VETASSESS is one of the primary skill assessing authorities that has been recognized by the Department of Home Affairs for most of the occupations on the list. So if you look at all of the occupations, you'll notice that majority of the occupations actually are assessed by VETASSESS. There's obviously a lot that aren't, but majority are. Even if you go through the TRA, there's a lot of occupations in the trade side that are also indirectly assessed by VETASSESS and then given back to the TRA. So today we're going to specifically focus on the professional occupations. A positive skill assessment is a mandatory requirement for a lot of visas, such as the subclass 189, 190, 491, 186 direct entry, the subclass 494, and even the 482 for certain occupations. So VETASSESS has enhanced its requirement to better understand and meet the requirements for the industries. So we've got a list here that we're going to talk about and what you should focus on. So there's an enhanced competency-based assessment criteria, more detailed and structured evidence requirements, strengthened employment verification processes, greater emphasis on the relevance and quality of your work experience. And these changes aim to improve both the inconsistencies that existed on what people were trying to claim and make it more consistent and aligned to what the industry expectations are for that particular occupation. Now, we've recently spent a lot of time on completing a professional occupation skill assessment, which was for the occupation of a VET teacher, Vocational Education and Training Teacher. This entailed a lot of groundwork because they were working both in the industry as a chef, but also teaching at various colleges for little amounts every week. We had to justify how that was all relevant experience to be able to teach, even including the practical side that they carried out of them doing work as a chef actually enhanced their ability to be able to practically teach someone. So VETASSESS places a stronger emphasis on how skills are applied in practice, your level of responsibility and decision-making when it comes to your role, alignment between your duties and the nominated occupation, which has always been an important point, and the documentation along with the references that you're providing should all corroborate and match together for a successful application. In some cases, especially where you've been self-employed, you may be required to provide additional evidence, such as the work that you've actually carried out. Even sometimes if you're working for someone, they may still ask for examples of work that you have completed. To strengthen assessment integrity, they will now conduct more strict checks when it comes to your references and employment verifications. So they will cross-check details of your employment. So they will do an independent validation of the duties that you've listed, as well as the employment claims that you're making. VETASSESS has also clarified how different types of experiences are going to be assessed. Work experience must be relevant, skilled, and post-qualification where required. Professional year programs must be structured and aligned to your industry. Short-term, casual, or overlapping roles must clearly outline how they're related to your nominated occupation. The focus is firmly on quality and relevance rather than the length of the duration, which we're having to prove anyway, like we did before, but they're more strict about the other criteria. So what does this mean for you? You need to make sure that all of your employment claims line up together. Make sure that any claims that you're making for that employment can be easily verified by VETASSESS. Make sure you're providing them enough evidence with all the documentation required to justify that you did in fact work there when it comes to proving that you have carried out work in relation to your occupation. This may mean providing evidence, especially if you were self-employed. Now, the VETASSESS website also provides a lot of this information for you, so you can help by preparing all of the reference letters in advance, even if you think you may need them in the future. Sometimes it's really difficult to go back to an employer and try and get those reference letters for a later date. Now, especially if you're trying to claim your overseas experience and claim that for your skill assessment in Australia, it might be hard to get in touch with your old employers, which we've seen clients genuinely struggle with. The VETASSESS or any skill assessment program plays a critical role in your migration to Australia. It's required for many of the visas, including some of the employer-sponsored visas, as well as the general skilled migration visas. So if you are unsuccessful, or if something has been found wrong, or if you've submitted the wrong evidence, or if you haven't submitted enough evidence, it can be refused and really delay the process, costing you thousands of dollars. But also, what if your visa runs out and you don't have a skill assessment ready? So it's really important to get that timing right if you're trying to get an invitation. Now, check out our video on the 4-tiered system and other videos that we've talked about the General Skilled Migration Program and how you should plan for that and utilize the skill assessment process to plan and strategize for every single different type of visa subclass.